Time for personal appeal.
Welcome back to Massfield. So all month we've been running a series on turning your hopes into realities. And this week it's unfortunately the last part of our series on starting a business, but today we're going to focus on growing your business with Raymond Milano. Now he's the branch manager for the Western Mass U.S. Small Business Administration. Thank you so much,
Seth,
for stopping by today.
You got it.
So we've been doing this fake bakery. We've all been starting up a bakery. Right. It's doing quite well.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
But today we need to talk about sustaining our bakery. What are some keys to sustaining growth?
Well, the key is, the hardest part is getting it started. So you want to do, what you did to get it started. So you started a bakery because you love to bake. You love to cook. You love to serve people. So keep doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But you need to focus on other things, such as like the administration. You're doing the work, but now who's going to do the backroom functions? Who's going to pay attention to the finances? Who's going to do the payroll? Who's going to pay the insurance? Who's going to, pay attention to your QuickBooks, stuff like that. So you need to pay attention to that also.
Especially because when you start out, a lot of people do it all themselves because they don't have the capital to pay somebody else. But once you get started, then maybe the next step is thinking about hiring someone.
Right, hiring employees, making sure you're financiers. And then, you got to keep up on the marketing. We talked about marketing last week. You want to keep that up. So who's going to do that marketing? You got to pay attention to that too. So, and then, the final thing is the entrepreneur. Who's going to keep thinking forward? Where's that business going to be in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years? So, there are a lot of aspects beside the work, that you need to keep focused on to keep that business running.
So you kind of need someone pushing the administrative envelope, but you also need someone pushing the creative envelope still too.
Exactly. You got to cover all bases. One thing doesn't survive without the other. If you just had somebody out front, doing the bakery, managing the store, and the back room fell apart, paying the finances, paying the payroll, you're paying attention to employees, it's not going to be a successful business.
Ray, if someone were to have the ability to hire one employee, might it be something whose skill set complements yours in such a way that they make up for your weaknesses?
Exactly. We always talk about, one person technically could do all those functions, but usually one person doesn't love to do it. You'd rather have somebody who loves to do the work or loves to do the backroom function. So if you can find a team or hire one employee that loves to do the finances, the background, loves to do the marketing, manage the website, do the social media, that would be great.
Now, I know for this whole series, we have it on our website. You have to go to mymassappeal.com. But let's just refresh if people haven't seen the other ones yet. Let's talk finance first. So you need to establish capital.
Yes, establish capital. You're starting a business, you're going to need some source of capital. So, you need to know where your credit standing is. You need to understand about collateral, what you're going to put down. You need to understand you're going to need to put some sort of injection, skin in the game to start that business. And you need to know what resources are out there. What financial institutions. Do you need a $10,000 loan? Do you need a $50,000 loan? Should you be doing a commercial lender or should you be going to an economic development agency?
And oftentimes you were telling us, don't use a credit card. Instead, go to a loan officer because they have the wherewithal and the information to act as a partner as opposed to someone who's just trying to take money from you.
Exactly. The key word is partner. An economic development organization, a commercial lender, they're going to be your partner in this venture. You go to a credit card company, you default on your credit card, they're not your partner. They don't care what you're doing. They're going to raise your rates, they're going to put you in default. Where your bank or your economic development agency will work with you and be your partner in it.
So once you know what you do, because you're saying the first step is to find your passion and run with it. Right. Then you have to raise the capital. Then you need to do your homework, and that's market research. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, market research. Who are your customers, where they're located? Who's your competition, where are they located? Find out what the need is in the community. Your competition, what are they doing right, what are they doing wrong? How are you going to compete against them? What's going to be your niche? Is it going to be sustainable food? Are you going to use the local growers, local community for your products? You got to find where you're going to be able to grab that market segment away from your competitors.
So I think if I can take anything from the marketing segment that we had, it's know what you do well and know it to a T.
Correct.
It's so important that you do that.
Yes.
And then the next step is advertising. So what would you recommend in terms of an advertising budget and ways to go about advertising your business?
Well, we're lucky these days. Technology's gone so far, so a lot of social media is free. It takes time, but it's free. So you can get on Facebook, get on Twitter, do some YouTube videos. You can put up a website fairly, inexpensively these days. So advertising can be cheaper first, but you want to make sure you target your market, know who your market is, so you're advertising to your market. I mean, I'll put a plug in for the Postal Service. The Postal Service has a direct mail campaign now, 14 cents for a direct mailer. So you can do 1,000 mailings for an entire zip code for $140.
It's a great deal.
So you just open, you go through that, you get a blast direct mail through the post office. So that's one of the resources that we point people to.
See, if I was opening a small business myself, I wouldn't know that, but if you lean on an association like the SBA, you have so many tips and tricks. How can people get in contact with you, and what services do you provide?
Right. The SBA, we have an office in Springfield, Massachusetts at the Scabelli Enterprise Center. You can get to SBA, www.sba.gov/MA. SBA, we're a federal agency. We provide training and counseling, financial loan programs, and government contracting assistance to small business owners and entrepreneurs.
Well, I want to thank you for this series. It's so difficult to start a new business, especially, I would assume, in this economic climate. Right. So the fact that the SBA exists and really wants to help people succeed is incredible. So thank you for your time.
No, thanks for having us.